Welcome to Your Iconic Image. If you want to take control of your image and be a power player in your space, then this is the show for you. Here we will arm you with tools and information to help you grow your brand on purpose. I'm your host, Marlena Semenza, photographer and visual strategist. Now let's dive into today's episode. My guest today is Terri Levine. Terri is a business and executive coach with more than 40 years of business experience. She's worked with more than 5,000 business owners and entrepreneurs, is a best-selling author with her own radio and TV show, a keynote speaker, and the creative of Heartrepreneur. Welcome, Terri.
Thank you. I'm glad to be with you.
So let's just dive right into it. How do we turn our personal brand into a business?
So first of all, don't think that you can have a business without having a personal brand, because you do, even if you're not intentional. So you want to be conscious and you want to make a choice, and you want to say, what do I stand for? Who am I in the world? What do I stand for? And what do I stand against? You don't have to get into, politics or any of this, just to get into what are your beliefs in the world? What's important to you? And be willing to stand up and speak about that, and speak about what it is that you don't see or don't agree with, because that is part of who you are, and that is your personal brand. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I think so many people also believe that their personal brand really is about them, and it's really not.
No. So Heartrepreneur is the name of the company. It's trademarked and all of that. And it is a brand, and it is beyond Terri Levine. We have about 6,000 members of Heartrepreneur right now. However, I initially came up with, well, what does Heartrepreneur stand for? And then like-minded people come on board. And that's what you want to remember. That's what you want to keep in mind. Whatever it is that that company stands for, that's beyond you. It's way bigger than you are.
And isn't it also important in any case that I know people think that, oh, well, if I only stand for one thing, then I'm going to alienate other people. But that's also part of it. You want to attract the right people and repel the wrong people. So I'm
glad you said that. Yeah. So I always believe in sort, sift, and separate. You want to sort out the people who aren't the right people, just like you said. You want to sift the people who start looking like they could be, and you want to separate the perfect, ideal clients that you can help and that can work with you and hire you. So I don't want people, for example, I'm all about being a heart-based business. I don't want people who just want to work 40 hours a week, don't want to have family life, could care less about spirituality or other people or people on the planet. I'm trying to tell them, your messaging should be so clear that people can rule themselves in or can rule themselves out.
So what are some of the elements that we need to put in place to have our personal brand be a business? Should we start with that in mind, or does it evolve into that?
That's the key question, isn't it? I believe that we have to start with who we are and why we are starting this business, this company. You have to have a why. We can make money so many different ways. I've owned 8 multi-million-dollar businesses. And the one I'm in now, the consulting one that I've been in 27 years, is where my heart is and my passion and where I will stay. However, I could have made money in any business. So you want to ask yourself, why this? Why this business? Why this industry? Why me? Why now? And really get clear on why that matters. I have so much passion for Heartrepreneur disrupting the way most people do business. I can't go to bed at night without thinking about it. It's so important to me. So take what's really meaningful for you, and you want to take that passion and turn it into income by making sure that you express the why everywhere. Before I really got Heartrepreneur out there, I just started talking about the why. And all of a sudden, we had thousands of people kind of getting behind this movement, and it wasn't even established. That's the key.
I love that. So talk to us a little bit about, because I know that you have this thing called the Heart Method. So talk to us a little bit about what that is and how we can implement that.
Yeah. So first I want to say to everyone, you need to have your own methodology. And I really mean your own, something that's proprietary, because otherwise we all become a lot of lookalikes. And if we're looking alike and, I'm going to do the same thing as somebody else, most of us are going to hire the person who charges the least if everybody's looking like in a cookie cutter world. So you want to come up with, as part of your brand, well, what is your actual methodology? So I created and trademarked Entrepreneur, and then I looked at, well, what is it that we do? And we have a formula. HEART. H starts for happening. What is actually happening is the first thing that I find out with my client family members is what is really happening in their business on their lives. Second, we look at effective. How effective are they currently being with whatever they're doing in sales and marketing and getting their messaging and their branding out? Third, we look at, so HEA. A is for aligned. How aligned is their message with their target market? Are they really speaking their words? Then we go to the R, we finally give them a roadmap, a proven roadmap to create a 200% return on investment guaranteed. And then finally, we have a transformation, complete transformation of where they are to the new results that they'll get, which is a guaranteed conveyor belt of qualified prospects. So that's the HEART method. And I really recommend everyone look at what you do and ask yourself, well, what do I have that can be proprietary? Everyone has them.
And I think that's such an interesting point to make, is the fact that there are a lot of people that copy other people. I know I watched a photographer who, she's amazing, but what she in effect did was she created a bunch of clones of what she does, exactly what she does. And I think it, so how do we get to, in your opinion, to the heart of what makes us unique?
Oh, so this is I love this question. So this is really the meat and potatoes of what is missing in most business today. And you used the word copy, and I'm so glad you used it. That's what I see people do. I see people see somebody else do something, go, I'll just do that. Oh, they did that on social media. That must work. I'll do that. And you have no idea if these things work. So what I would say is you want to take a look at how would you prefer to get your message out in the world. You can do it in many ways. You can certainly do it by webinars and speaking, and you can do it by conferences and blogging and podcast. I mean, we can name hundreds of ways. I have a list of 300. Ask yourself, how would I like to express my message? How would I like to do it? If I woke up in the morning and said, I want to get my message out there to help people, what would be easy, effortless, joyful, and fun for you? And so for me, everybody does it differently. I love Facebook. For me, it's just been such a great place to meet people and connect, and photos and family and friends. So I've done it through one process, which is very simple. It's a Facebook group, Entrepreneurs with Terri Levine. There's like 50, 400 people in there. And all I do is ask myself, how can I speak to these people to create more education and value? Not to pitch them, not to sell them. If every day, as a business owner, you wake up in the morning and say, oh, I just want to go help and serve more people. How can I do that? And you stop pitching at people and you create education and value, you will have what I have and what my client family members have, which is a conveyor belt of qualified prospects.
Mm. What, and I have a lot of people that I surround myself with that think exactly the same way. You go out and you help people, you give, and also too, I'm a big believer in you give away your knowledge, because people don't pay for information, they pay for application, and they can Google information all day for free 99 on YouTube and anywhere on the internet. So how do you think that you make the connection between actually telling somebody or explaining to somebody or showing value in what you do?
Okay, so there's two words that I tell my client family members all the time. If you don't have enough prospects, it's because you're not creating enough value and you're not giving away enough education. Those are the two words, education and value. I give away my best information. I mean, my best. I give away courses that I've sold for $9,000. I give away books. I give away workshops. I give. And sometimes people say to me, why do you give all that away? Well, people come, They digest the content. They see that I have value, that I'm the real credible expert. And then if they drink of some of my knowledge and want more, I call it reverse marketing. They raise their hand and they say, how do I get to work with you?
Mm-hmm.
It's very simple. And if I really mean this, if you don't have enough qualified prospects, you're simply not providing enough free content. The universe is filled with information, like you said. Make sure your information creates some type of a transformation. People get huge value from it, and don't pitch them.
Mm-hmm.
They will come to you every day. I've got people, whether they're pinging me on Messenger or they're emailing me, they're saying, how do I get more of this? Or can I work with you? Instead of me hunting for them.
Mm. Let's talk for a minute too about something that also can bring up, which is that I think a lot of entrepreneurs suffer from, is scarcity mentality. They think that if I tell everybody this and I tell everybody how to do what I do, then other people will be doing it, and then there's not going to be enough work for me. And that's just simply not the case. But talk about that a little bit.
It's so not the case. So many, many years ago, I founded a coach training school, the Coaching Institute, and we graduated about 5,000 coaches and certified them. And people would come to me all the time and say, well, you're teaching them everything that you do, and so they're just going to take all your clients. And I said, well, first of all, no, they're not. And my clients resonate with me. It has to do with me and my personality. Their clients will resonate with them for their personality. And if I lived my life holding on to everything and afraid that there's not enough, I don't think I would enjoy my life very much. So I actually believe there's plenty for everyone. And the more you define your niche and you make it narrow and you make it very small, the more the right people find you. Trying to be a generalist, you're never going to be successful. So overcome and really do belief shifting, work with someone who could help you overcome any scarcity mentality in your life, in your health, in your wellness, in the amount of clients out there. There is enough for all of us. There are literally every day hundreds of thousands of people searching for strategists, consultants, and coaches. I can't work with all of them, and neither can you. So just relax and know that the right people will find you, and other people will find other people. And it's a great thing, the way the universe works.
And I think also that's an interesting thing to bring up, is the fact that what is going to make you different is you and your personal brand. So you have to have that personal brand infused into your business, whether you want to or not, because it's going to help differentiate you. So what are some of the things about your personal brand that you've infused into your business?
So definitely my personality. I let people, I burn the curtain. People see me all different ways, with my hair done, not done, makeup, no makeup. They really get a glimpse of who is Terri, and is she authentic, or is she just showing up with, all prettied up and trying to sell us something? That's one way. The second is, I let my sense of humor come out. I do have a little bit of sarcasm, and I let people see that. Third is I'm not afraid to take a stand. And sometimes that stand might be unpopular. I'll give you two examples. I was one of the very first master certified coaches from the International Coach Federation, and I did a lot of keynotes for them. And at some point in my business, I realized that I was more of a consultant than a coach, and that hanging out with a lot of coaches wasn't really the thing for me. And so I stepped away from that, and people asked me about it, and I decided to be vocal about it. I decided to write articles, and I decided to blog about it. Now, if that turns some people off, that's okay. They're not my people. I posted something just yesterday on social media that I knew would create a little controversy. And that's part of me being me, which is I questioned why people wear like an Apple Watch that tells you right on it that it's sending radiation into your body and that it's not healthy. And so I'm like, I question why people wear that. And so I'm sharing my personal opinion. I'm taking a stand. I'm not saying you're wrong for wearing it. I'm just saying, I don't get it, right? Now, some people may leave because of that. Well, that's okay. The people who are going to follow me are the people who go, oh, I like who she is, who her personality is. And the final piece of that is, and they don't have to agree with me. I have client family members that are going to wear their Apple Watches. They know how I feel about it. They have their opinion. I have mine. Yet they appreciate that I'm willing to stand up for my opinion. part of my brand.
Love that. And you talked a little bit about showing our flaws.
Mhm.
Can you talk to us a little bit more about the encouragement to do something like that? Because I think a lot of people do think that they have to show up on social media and be perfectly coiffed. Um, and I always encourage my clients, you have to show some of the scars along the way, because
Yeah.
it makes people want to be part of your journey because they see themselves in that.
So, entrepreneur, like the word entrepreneur, stands for transparency, authenticity, and integrity. If every time I showed up, whether it was to a speaking engagement or Facebook Live or an interview, if I, wore the perfect outfit, I perfected myself and did all of these things, you wouldn't really know who I am behind the scenes. So I recommend that you share that piece of you with people, whether it's you and your kids, your grandkids, your parents, your spouse, your partner. Let people see a little bit of your life and who you are. I also go beyond that. I have a neurological disease called reflex sympathetic dystrophy. I talk about it. If I'm having difficulty, I share about that. I have a foundation for kids with it, so I talk about that quite a bit. I'm going to give you the exact way of doing this because we sent out an email Sunday, just yesterday, and it had a broken link. Okay, so we're not perfect at Heartrepreneur. We made a mistake. So somebody messaged me, a lot of somebody's, and said the links don't work. So we're sending out an email today, correcting that, admitting our mistake, and giving away a free course that was selling for a couple $100 and saying, hey, this is our bad. So be transparent. Let people know. Don't try and look like the perfect person because people want people who are like them. They don't want somebody who looks perfect.
Mm-hmm. And with that in mind, what are your thoughts on having to have your website look perfect or your social media look perfect or any of those things before you launch something? Or go ahead and give us your thoughts on that.
I'm laughing because I literally just had somebody ask me like same exact question. She's like, I'm not exactly ready to launch, so I shouldn't set up social media or anything, right? No, you do want to set it up. You can make changes to things. In the meantime, start gathering like-minded people by putting up some content. So let's just say that you're not exactly clear. You're going to help divorced women, but you don't exactly know what you're going to help them with. You know that that's your passion because you went through a divorce and you needed help and you're like, I'm going to do some business around this. Great. Start writing some posts, start sharing your stories, start putting up some advice, some tips, whatever, as you're developing the entire brand. When I first started Heartrepreneur, I hadn't identified the heart method. I hadn't identified exactly who I was going to work with. I just knew that I wanted to disrupt how business was being done. I wanted to do it heart to heart. And so I just started.
And I think people also have the misconception that every single post that you put on social media or whatever is seen by everybody. And that's really just not the case either. A very small fraction of the people that follow you actually see a particular post. So you don't have to worry about that. You also don't have to worry about resharing a similar post in a couple of weeks because the chances that that same person saw it,
Yeah, they're minimal.
So
now, on Facebook, for example, so I've got 25,000 people on my business page. Less on any post that I put up, less than 200 people will actually see that post. Okay, 200. So exactly what you said is correct. I will put the same post up in a week or 2 weeks. I will use maybe the same. We've got about 26 posts, and I literally rotate a lot of those. The same on LinkedIn, the same on Twitter, the same on Instagram. It doesn't matter what social media you're on. Only a handful of people are going to see what you post. So don't worry about having the same message. Consistency is important to your brand.
Let's talk for a minute too about the actual workings of a business, because if you're going to make your personal brand a business, it should be, in effect, a business, correct?
I'll go beyond that. I like to set up companies versus business. And a business means you're getting paid for doing work. So it's not a lot different than a job. You show up and you do something and somebody pays you, and that's trading your time for money. Your time is limited, and it's starting a company without an end in mind. It's just no idea. You just want to do it because you're passionate, not because you want to leave a legacy or not because you want to pass it to your kids or family as a dynasty. So I recommend that you think about, why am I starting this? What is the end game? Every person needs an end game. And the second thing is, don't set it up as a business, which means it relies on you in order to get paid. Set it up as a company. If I were to disappear from the planet tomorrow, Entrepreneur can exist without me. It was my concept. It's branded as part of who I am. Doesn't need me anymore.
Mm. So how do we do that if we're a solopreneur?
Love this question. The first thing you do is you look at setting up your business so you're not trading time for money. So as an example, as a business strategist in my company, I don't do any one-to-one sessions. I haven't done one-to-one in 20 something years. I work in groups with very, very smart, highly evolved people. I guarantee them a 200% return on investment. It's a minimal amount of my time with maximal results for my client family members. I also have a team of 25 other consultants who work in different verticals with different people. We have courses, we have books, we have downloads, we have membership sites. I can go on and on. So every single day, there are ways for my company to make money without me actually showing up and having to do the work. And we get our clients great results and still have that ridiculous guarantee without one-to-one work. So make sure that you can set it up so it can go without you. If you don't have the right systems and processes, it's no different than having a job. You have to show up, you have to do the work, and you're going to have to work even a lot harder because it's your own thing.
Mm. In the beginning, because of what you do, were people expecting you? And so how do you train somebody to then be you or step in at that same level?
So first of all, be transparent. Okay, that's the first thing I say to people, be transparent. Just recently, I was on a guy's website and he said that he does conversations if you want more information on this one thing that he does on websites. And I scheduled it and I get on the phone with somebody different. Now, I don't get on the phone in my company. Okay, I have a team that does, and they tell you, I'm so-and-so, Terry's chief advisor. Do you want to book a call with me? They don't say that it's going to be with Terry. They're very clear. So that's number one. Number two is, if you're coming into a program that's not being conducted by me, everything that you're reading and hearing and seeing about that program is talking about the other person, or me and the other person talking about the two of us. There is no surprise. I currently have a program with another person on my team that we're doing together. And people know when they come in, you're getting two mentors, and you're not going to have access to Terri every single call, every single meeting, every single response. So just be clear. And that's where the transparency, integrity, and authenticity come in. And how do you get someone to do it the way you would do it? First, let go of the fact they're going to do it the way you would do it. They're in their own personality, and I encourage that. So we're going to have the same kinds of responses and answers because they've gone through a process of my training. They're usually already my client family members. They know how I think and how I would answer, yet they're going to have their own amazing personality that people will resonate.
Very interesting. When people are building their personal brand into a business, what mistakes do you see people make over and over again, and how are those fixed?
Well, one of the first ones we already talked about was they're copying other people. And I just had somebody do this over the weekend. They said, oh, I like your heart method. I'm going to have my name, my process, heart. Like, first of all, it's trademarked. Second of all, why don't you come up with something unique and original to you? Okay. So that's the first thing. The second thing is they start looking at people in their own industry and they assume they're successful, so they copy them. So this person had a Facebook ad, I'll use an ad just like that. This person did a blog on this, I'll do a blog. Well, first of all, you don't know that person's even successful. So I would ask yourself, what are you saying or doing that gets people to see that you are unique and different. My clients all create something called a core unique positioning statement. No one in the marketplace can make the claim that they make. So, like for me, I claim that you will get a conveyor belt of qualified prospects and you will grow your business 200% ROI guaranteed, or I give you all your money back plus pay you $5,000. No one in this industry has ever done or said the same thing. They also don't have my proprietary heart method, right? So I want you to make a claim that no one else can say. If I can cross out your name and put my name or somebody else's name there, it's not unique or original. And then the second thing is don't imitate people in your profession. I really mean this. I modeled building this business strategy totally out of watching realtors, chiropractors, and physicians. I watched all of their marketing and said, I'm not going to market like other coaches and consultants.
Interesting that you bring that up as well, because the photographers that I do follow are not in the same niche as I am. And I follow more businesses, I would say, than photographers also. So I think that's a really interesting and powerful point to bring up, is to look at other industries and not your own, because I think that will also create a sense of imagined competition or all those kinds of things, or where you're comparing yourself to others, and it's not healthy.
And when you and I first met, Ron, and you were explaining how you do your work, it was unlike anybody that I'd ever heard of. So I immediately got attracted to you, right? And that's because you are looking at, how can I do it my way? How can I make this mine? And to me, that's the essence of a successful brand. There's, a ton of people that can say, oh, I help you get your branded photographs. How many of you, if I Google that, how many? I haven't found anybody who makes the same claim that you make. And that's what attracted me to you. And I said, okay, in the spring, I'm ready to have all new photos and you're my gal. Instantaneously, I sifted and separated myself, reverse marketing, and said, pick me.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. I know for me, there's a quote by Bruce Lee that I've always loved, and it said, take what is useful, reject what is not, and make it uniquely your own. And I think that's so important in any business, to be able to see, learn, but always make it yours.
I agree with that so much. I've told people, like, you might want to model my Facebook group. It's effective. We have great conversations. People do business together. Just make it yours, right? Yeah. Make it yours. I had a few years ago, just to share, I had somebody that literally imitated my entire website, like they replicated it. And they actually had one of my books literally on their website, the cover of the book, and it said, and I also wrote a book, and there was my book with my name and my photo. And I'm like,
oh my.
Okay. Yeah, right. I was shocked when I found it. We sent them a little message and it disappeared, but I'm like, okay, this is where I see people not getting it right. They're looking at, who can I model? Model you. It's your uniqueness and it's your brand. Like, I know when you and I do photos, I don't want photos that everybody else has. I don't want, the same. I don't want to be Terri. Right. I want people to see my uniqueness.
Couldn't agree more. Okay, Terri, let's hit into these final 4 questions I have for you, because you've given us a lot of great advice. So what was the best piece of advice you were ever given?
The best piece of advice I was ever given was to be authentic, not to sell, and just to really be authentic. And if I could help someone, say, I'd like to help you. And that's it.
Share with us one thing on your bucket list.
One thing that is on my bucket list is getting a full-time house in Mexico. So I live in Mexico for about the last 12 years, for 4 months out of the year. And I'm heading back in a couple of days, and I intend to actually buy a house there so that I can live there more of the time.
So you'll be checking that one off pretty soon.
I look forward to checking it off within a couple of weeks, yes.
So when the toy companies finally get around to making an action figure of you, what 2 accessories will it come with?
I would love for it to come with some kind of a crown, and not because I think of myself as, quote, regal or anything like that. I love glitz. I just love it, and I never really get to wear it. So I'm thinking a crown would be sort of fun. And then the other thing that has to be on the action figure has to be some kind of a heart, pendant, necklace, whatever, to represent that really everything in life is about connecting heart to heart.
Love it. Last one. How do people find you?
The best way is to go to my Facebook group. It's Heartrepreneurs with Terri Levine. And once you get in, introduce yourself. Let people know who you are, because people do business in there together. And go to the file section. We talked about value and education. There's tons of freebies there for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here, Terri.
Oh my gosh, thank you. It was a blast. I love your questions.
Thank you for joining us. Once again, I'm Marlena Semenza, photographer and visual strategist. Please comment, like, or share this episode, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a thing. For more information on how I can help you create your iconic image, visit marlenasemenza.com.